and Peter, how are you doing tonight?
Fabulous.
Wondrous. A lot of changes. Wonderful.
I'm feeling the effects of this a new super full moon lunar eclipse. How about you, Peter? In the sun
Yes. I'm feeling the changes. My whole life has radically changed for the better. So and I have my part of fortune within the aspects of Pisces and Virgo. So I am definitely living proof of what is happening in our world. And I think everybody knows I transitioned from Connecticut to Maine. So without a doubt, I'm living proof, and I'm actually with the transits that are going on. We're out of retrograde. You know that, Christine, right? We're out of retrograde except for transiting Pisces
and Venus.
Yes.
Venus and Mercury, or Mercury's about to be in retrograde, but Venus is in it.
Yeah. But I mean, those things are asking us to revisit, and apparently, Peter, you have revisit what wasn't working for us and to rebuild what will bring us to the future. So maybe you want to share how you have the courage to move forward in these changes.
Well, I've got to say, it's very succinct, Christine, that you should say changes, because I want to convey this to everybody that's listening or viewing our podcast. I am connecting with old clients and new clients, and I'm finding out people are complaining to me about why aren't their lives changing. And our lives can't change unless we are proactive and we embrace the factor that the reason we're here is not to repeat the same negative behavior that we're accustomed to and expecting our lives to be different. Because I think the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And I have so many people that are calling and saying, well, you did my chart astrologically, you've done readings for me. Why isn't my life changed? And I said, what are you doing to allow your life to change? Now, many of us, including myself, are transfixed on keeping our lives the same because we don't like discomfort. But in order to grow, we've got to deal with what the universe and God and the master guide and the guardian angels are presenting to us. So in this, and I'm living proof myself, I have completely changed my whole life, including being in a new relationship, and I'm embracing everything that's coming my way. But I want to say that if you're a light worker, and if you are a person of metaphysics that is studying metaphysics or studying how to ameliorate your life on a much grander level, you have to change.
So how did you do that? So how does a man in his multiple generations of experience allow himself to have the courage to do that?
What I've been doing, and I'm suggesting to other people, is going within and doing whatever meditation you decide to work with. It could be going when it gets warmer to a lake. It could be sitting at home and listening to your breathing. It could be sitting inside and looking up to the constellations and just enjoying and embracing the stars and the energy. I focus in on nature in order to bring myself into a REM state, and then I give gratitude around me to the earth and to nature, and to that I got up and I am able to feed myself. I can breathe. I've gotten up to be able to enjoy a new day. I give thanks every day that I am here. And for a grown man to do that, especially I just turned 70, I am so grateful for the ability to just be, to be able to think. I am grateful to be able to come on this podcast and speak and convey my messages. So I am grateful for the little things that we have that come to us in our lives. I'm very grateful to Teresa for being a friend. I'm grateful to you. I extend love to people. This is how I express gratitude to God and my guardian angels.
Love.
Love.
Love. I like using that as a segue because we get a reading, we look at astrology, we look to crystals, we look to these metaphysical things to help us change our lives, to make life better for us.
Yes.
But the how we work with those things and the opinions that are out there about those things, or the information out there about those things, is very different. So tonight we chose to speak about crystals. It's something that we've been mentioning that we're going to speak about for a long time. And tonight, like I called Peter, I was making a piece the other day and I got this inspiration that, now is the time. Now is the time to talk about it, because there's a type of clarity that's going to come through right now energetically to be able to have this conversation. So one of the pieces that I just want to quickly read, and it's my favorite thing that's ever been written about working with crystals. There's so many books out there: Crystal Bible, Book of Stones, Melody's book about crystal properties. So many things will give you a list about, this is this crystal, here's the name of the crystal, here's where you find it, and here's what it means. But there's so much more to crystals than that. Yeah. So this phraseology is, to begin with, the first crystal with which you work, which you clean, polish, and purify, must be yourself. It is an illusion to think that you can work effectively with crystals if you have not already started the work on your own self. You must recognize that this work you do on yourself is the most important work of all. So that self-work, how can we, when we're having a conversation with a crystal, when we're interacting with a crystal, really take in the conversation it's having with us if we are in our ego, if we're all over the place, if we are not tuned to what we're looking for? If we don't have the tool or the skill, how can we accelerate or progress in what we're aiming to do? So we'll say misconception around crystals, or the way that crystals are sold, is, here's this piece of rhodonite, and rhodonite is and it will help you accomplish ABC, and you should wear it as something or carry it around with you, and it's just going to do the work. Is that effective? Is that really happening? Yes. But what if your desire was not necessarily something that rhodonite was the best fit for, or your intention was the best fit for? What you really needed, maybe you needed a tiger eye, or an amethyst, or a combination of multiple stones. If you don't know what you're actually in alignment with, you're not going to be able to have the most powerful experience that you possibly can. So how will we know what crystal's right for us, or how will we be able to work with these crystals to have the strongest experience that we possibly can? So when it comes to crystals, I definitely become a motor mouth. I'm going to pause there. I'm going to share some space, and then I'm going to get into my next point.
Oh, I did have a question for you. when somebody comes to you that you don't know, somebody from the public, and they say to you, I haven't been feeling well, my health has been difficult, it's been very challenging for me. What modalities, what process do you go through? Do you pre-screen them? Do you ask them questions about their lifestyle, about their eating habits? How do you ascertain with your crystals and your jewelry the exact stones that are needed to facilitate developing and creating, and I will say, a masterpiece that will not only be cosmetically attractive, but that you also know would be congruent with their etheric energy?
I love that question. And for me, whether the person comes to me for an emotional issue, an intellectual issue, spiritual, physical, I have the same process for everyone. I like to listen to what they feel they are drawn to share. And then as I'm listening to them, am picking up an energy from them.
Yeah.
And if their intentions are, I would like a crystal piece for ABC. Maybe that's where their mind is or their feelings are, but they're overlooking that they need to address EDF. So there's a combination in having a conversation of what are they seeking? What am I feeling? Then we're asking. Yes?
Go ahead, Christine.
So I recently, this week, came to Teresa to gift a very close friend with a crystal creation. And I asked Teresa to tune into her energy. I sent her a picture, and spot on, Teresa tuned in after I gave my assessment of what this very dear friend of mine, spiritually, emotionally, physically, blah, 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 blah. And then Teresa said, okay. And I said, it's your turn. And then she did her thing and tuned in. So there's no way to say how you do this when you intuitively connect in. And everything she spoke of for this dear friend of mine was 1,000% accurate. In such a way that was so spiritually affirming, so from a somatic, emotional, body, mind, spirit affirming, that the piece that she's going to create is, I'm sure, going to bless my friend. And, you know, as I gift her this for her birthday. Teresa has never met her, and she saw her and felt her. And you can't, how do we explain what this is like?
That's actually a place I want to use right there, because I did invite a friend of mine who also has received jewelry from me, who we've been working together for the past couple weeks, receiving the jewelry, what's been happening since receiving the jewelry. And it's funny because I call them pieces, for like lack of a better word. What is your piece serving you with? And it's a combination. We have to understand that the crystals and ourselves are always paralleling. And as we move, they move. As they move, we move. And it's a symbiotic process. So I'm going to bring on my friend Brittany, and the statements that Christine has shared with us, the question that Peter had, we're going to all come together right now in convergence. Okay.
Okay.
Beautiful. Hi, Brittany.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Hi, Brittany.
Hi.
So I wanted you have not been here for the question, but you definitely have the answer. Okay. Peter says, when somebody comes to you with a issue or ailment, for you to make a piece for them, what is your process that you use to create a piece for them?
Yeah.
And I said, oh, perfect timing, because you came on and he asked the question. I was like,
okay, see, I thought I was late, so I'm glad I have good timing.
Perfect timing. So I actually brought Brittany on to be the person to answer this question, because she's had a real-time experience. So the same process that's happening. A person comes on behalf of someone else, or a person comes to me personally and says, I would like you to make a piece for me for reason A, B, C, D. Okay, then there's intuitively what I pick up on that person, E, F, G, H. There's a convergence that happens. We're also working with source, their high self, my high self, the spiritual team or the energetic team that is humming between us, saying, okay, show us what's for this person's best and highest good. Very similar to when we give readings for individuals and say, well, what crystals are best to use and why? Mm-hmm. And now, between the answers that the crystals are giving, the answers that the intuitive or that we're being downloaded into, this person and myself are coming together for this grouping to be able to create something that will give them that support that they're looking for. So in Brittany's case, her sister was the one to purchase her a piece, and then she got her own to follow. So Brittany, without delay, I'm going to give it to you.
Okay. So how I would even compare it is like, when you get Reiki and it's like remote Reiki, remote healing, like, the same thing, because energy knows no distance. So it works in the same way. I've purchased myself and gifted like so many different crystal pieces and everything. I never have I had this experience. So this is why I was actually really excited to come on this, because the shifts were so quick. I was like, is it something in the energy or is it actually these pieces? And it was actually like the crystals that were aligned for me at that time. So my sister I met Teresa at a networking event. And in that time, I was going through like my own journey, and I felt very connected to her, almost like I knew her before type thing. And I feel like the timing in my life just didn't make sense to like, I just needed that like hermit mode. So I was with my sister. I convinced her to go to the networking event, and her and Teresa hit it off. They were talking and everything. So long story short, my birthday's coming around. My sister wasn't able to be here. She's literally my best friend. She never misses anything. So she felt really bad. And she's like, I want to get, I'm working on a gift for you. I was like, oh, okay, what kind of gift? And she's like, well, it's through Teresa. She's like, I don't want to really tell you too much. She's like, you're going to see, you're going to love it. So I'm like thinking, oh, like it's just a beautiful crystal piece. Like she got me earrings before, like can't wait to get them. No, it was a total experience, like shifting experience, like ground earthquaking experience. So it was like time was going on. And then my sister was like, oh, like I'll pick up the jewelry, or do you want to pick it up? Like, how's this going to work? And I was like, you know what? I think I'm just going to pick it up. And then I think she ended up meeting me at my house and gave me the piece. Really, I talked to Teresa a little bit when it came to my piece, but I just felt her kind of in my energy. I'm very intuitive. So I was able to like feel it, and I allowed her in. I'm usually very protective, and I just felt very safe with her, and I just allowed her to work her magic. And boy, did she, because so really my story goes like a lot of just childhood trauma stuff, a lot of physical trauma. And that was really holding me back in a lot of areas of my life. Didn't matter what I did, what therapy sessions, what Reiki I did, what it just like always kind of just pulled me back to that block after block. I was like, what is going on here? I'm actually letting people go. I'm getting out of these situations. I'm changing this. I'm changing that. Like, what else is it? I would go to like crystal shops even before, and I would get like I can connect. So I would get like a whisper here and there. I'd get like a pulling, a call, never like this. So I would say like when you were making like the birthday necklace originally, I would just feel it. Like I'd have throughout the day, I just like feel, oh, okay, just Teresa. Like she's just in my field and just doing her thing. When I seen it, I was like, it brought me to almost like a past life type thing. It like connected me in such a way. I was like, oh, these are like my crown jewels. Like this is what this was for. Like I'm being crowned. Like this is The battle is won type thing. And I feel like the birthday piece, if you would agree, Teresa, was more like healing, loving, grounding, nurturing, like mother energy, like Mother Gaia deeply, like that type of thing. So my sister drops off the piece and I'm having like other things go on and I'm wearing it and I'm like, oh, this is like really powerful. Like I'm really emotional right now. And I'm in a room full of men because I work in finance and it's a very male dominated field. And I'm feeling very emotional and I don't know how to feel. Like, is this just me? Is this a shift? Like normally I can keep the face on that I need for that job and then, move on. And I was like, no, I need to take a minute. I need to go to my car. And I sat in my car and I everything starts pouring out. I was like, oh, wow, this is really hitting. Okay. And it needed that. I needed that purge. I was holding in that purge. I didn't want to face these certain things that were showing up. And it was about time to do it because it was blocking my finances. It was blocking my stability, my safety, all these things. So that necklace came in such perfect timing. I'm thinking I'm just getting one piece. My sister gifted it to me. Great, because finances were little. I'm a single mom. So I was like, I don't know if I want to get like 2 pieces right now, but I was drawn to everything that she does. Like everything she does, oh, I might need that. I might need that. And she was like, in time, we'll see. But this one was just interesting. I was working on I don't know how long it was after. I feel like it was like
days.
Yeah, not like a week after, not even a week after.
Yeah.
I'm like, me and Teresa are always like, talking here and there, just like picking each other's brains, talking whatever. And I was like writing this. I write poetry. I'm working on.
Oh.
So that's how I've been able to transmute, I would say, like a lot of things. I love to write. So I wrote this poem and she was the one I really wanted to share it with. It was very interesting. I was like, I want to call Teresa and read this to her. Like, I don't know. Like,
I'm making jewelry. I hear, call Brittany. Call Brittany. She needs these messages. Call Brittany. Yeah. So I call her and say, hey, I received messages for you. I'm just going to give you the messages, but I'm making jewelry. So I'm going to speak and I'm going to go.
Exactly.
So how long did it take? I didn't mean to interrupt here.
No problem.
But how long did it take once you were in possession of this wonderful piece of art, beauty, whatever?
I can show you guys.
How long did it take to effectuate the changes in your life?
Wow.
Aren't they like really gorgeous? I don't even think it does that job.
What is the bottom? Is that a garnet? That's
amethyst.
So that's amethyst.
I was going to say amethyst. That's out of this world.
It's like insane. And it's crazy because when I click into like past life, higher self, I see these colors. Yeah. I like tap into these crystals. So yeah. And then this was the other one.
Magnificent.
This was really cool because it was like an eye, like, and then the other side had like 2. Okay, so really quick. Oh, so I would say within. I'm trying to think.
Within a few days, we spoke again. You were saying before you go, thank you for the messages, but before you go, can I just read you this poem really quick?
Yeah,
and then
he was asking when it took to like for the birthday necklace specifically. I would say it was like maybe 40, not even 48 hours.
That's
so I felt like originally like this like warmth, like a very warm like energy feeling, almost like the crystal was like hugging my little girl is what I needed at the time. And I just felt very like just safe, like this safe energy. But like within 48 hours, I was like, oh no, this is a shift. Like this was no joke. Like this is exactly what I needed at the time I needed it. Even though my birthday was in December, like it was a few months after but timing was perfect. The way I was like, Daniela, you don't understand the gift you just gave me. Like, whoa.
That's amazing. That's short of period of time.
That's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. So it was really cool. So the interesting thing was I feel like the second necklace was the most, even more than the birthday necklace, was like more shifting because she created it off a poem I read to her. Okay. We were not planning this, off a poem. So the poem's pretty short. If you guys don't mind, I'll just like read it. Elements of my past. My past no longer defies me. So when you look for that scared, people-pleasing toddler, that sweet, selfless little girl, that troubled, rebellious, angry teen, that scorned woman, she doesn't live here anymore. She's drowned in the rain of her tears and the tears of her ancestors before her. She's engulfed herself into the fiery flame, purifying the old and making room for the new. The earth has set a quake. Her old self will no longer wake. The winds have swept away all she's ever known. From this, she has grown. So that is what I read to her, and she created this. And I
she created that. All right. And what type of stone is that?
What stone is this, Teresa? This one?
It's a smoky quartz, but there's so much in creating pieces. The first thing that most people want to do when they start working with crystals is say,
Yes.
what's the name of this? What does it metaphysically do? So that they can go to the book and they could read the properties of this is what this is going to do for me, or
Right.
why is it working to do this? But what they overlook, and it's not their fault, that's what I was talking about with how we speak about crystals, how we sell them or commercialize them, is we overlook that they are vibrational energy, and that
Yes.
one bead from another is going to be completely different. One crystal from another is going to be completely different.
Completely
The
different.
beads that Brittany is wearing are, I have piles and cups of rainbow moonstone of, different ones. Those pendants may be a unique vibration. I can't replace that if she called me tomorrow and be like, hey, I lost this. Can you make me a new one? No, I can't. And the beads that go along with that, hey, can you make me a new one? No, I can't. Because those beads are specific vibrationally matching to her. And that's the big point that I would love to convey in this podcast and to anywhere else going forward, is that each bead emits vibrational frequency, the direction of it, the order it goes in with the pattern it makes with those other crystals. It's all going to have impact.
And all crystals are record keepers. And you're tuning into the Akashic records of the soul that you're working with guidance to create a piece that allows for them to connect to their highest truth and to eliminate any self-limiting beliefs that are blocking their ability to connect to their ultimate expression.
Yes.
And that's your gift.
All right. So are the stones actually altering in some way the molecular DNA makeup within the soul? How does the stone or stones either augment, magnify in order to attract the changes within your life?
I have definitely a handful of things to say, but I could feel Christine's energy, and I'm like, do you want to go first?
I'm coming from as a lay person, not an astrologer or psychic, as a lay person, because I know that there is a scientific basis for this, and I know, and I've been in stores where I've actually gone over to stones that I was attracted to. And when I picked up the stones, I had this electromagnetic jolt that has gone to my body. And I felt as if I was ubiquitous. I felt like I was omnipresent. I was all over. And when I put the stone down and I walked out, I said, oh my God, what happened to that magnificent sense of equanimity and being at one with the universe? So that is where I am coming from.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly what people can expect when they pick up crystals that they resonate with. Yes. You have a gift where you're tapping in psychically, you can feel energy. So when you're guided to go pick something up, that's the resulting feeling. We should feel like when we're working with crystals, there should be some kind of correspondence that we feel when we know that this crystal is in alignment with us, whether it's something we hear, something we see, speak, smell, the feeling that we have. In the more, and this is why I read that piece earlier, the more in tune with us that we are, the easier it is for us to feel vibrational alignment with these crystals. I tell people all the time, I have conversations with these crystals. It's an ongoing back and forth dialogue. And as I'm making the piece, I'm going, okay, I'm here and I'm listening. Show me the pattern, show me the way, show me what needs to go where, and tell me why, so I can give it back. And that's something so I can give the message. And that's something that Christine and I experienced when I was making Christine's piece. You know, hey, can you make a piece for me? Yes. Okay. What would you pick and why? I was like a motor mouth. I couldn't slow down. I just chewed her face off for like an hour straight. Oh my God, you're going to need this for this reason and that. She goes, are you recording this? Is there a place I can go back to? And I'm like, it's just channeling through so fast that I know what I need to do and I know why I need to do it. I'm just sharing with you why it's also for you. And if I try to slow down that channel, or I try to record it and write it down, I just lose it. It's not like the information comes through slower. It just dissipates. So I could maybe tap back in, but it's not going to come through the same way.
And Christine wanted to interject something.
Well, so God has messengers in all of us, right?
Yes.
So God has given us each our gifts. And I will tell you that crystalline energy reshaped my life, reshaped my home, healed me, healed my home, has the ability to heal our relationships. Crystals are God's, the earthen energies of record keepers that are millions of years old, that have been witness to everything. And our souls are witness to everything. So our souls are here to evolve. Our souls are here to grow. And while we're in such pain, we need companions to help support us to evolve, heal, and expand ourselves to the truth that there is. And so crystalline energy is the earthen energy that is here in a way to hold us in God's crystalline energy is what I want to say. Maybe I'm not saying it in the right way.
You said
you're saying it very succinctly, Christine.
But I will say that when I many years ago started to either mindfully or they just showed up because I was blessed with crystals in my home, in my life. It healed my home. It healed me. And using crystals in daily life experience has elevated my ability to connect to the divine truth, to my own truth, to the earth's energy, which is deeply healing for all of us. And I think that we have moved away from our earthly experience, many of us. And I think there's an invitation for us to come back to that and to ground into the truth of these gifts that God has placed here for us, that are millions of years in intelligence and shared experience. And our souls are eternal, and we've lived so many lives that we have deliberately been allowed to come into this experience, in this moment, and not remember those moments. And yet there's these crystalline friends that are companions with us, that allow us to connect into that truth. and I don't even know where that all came from, but I will say that when I hold something or wear something, and my guides tell me, put this on, put that on with this client or with this person you're going to come into, or what you're going to have in this day, or what your experience is, or the fact that I went and found this black tourmaline at my hypnosis convention, and I was like, I have to have that to fuel out any negative energy. It just, from a sensuous standpoint, the earthly gifts give so much to us in terms of experience and elevating our mind, our emotions, our ability to connect into truth of the divine realm and the gifts, and to clear our spaces, because there's so much going on of a kinetic, energetic, almost, I don't want to use this word, but I'm going to use this word. It's an attack. And so gentle, etheric, crystal beings can help transmute that. And I will give you an example. I don't even know where I got this, but I bought this, purchased this. It was given to me. You have to have this. I think it was a Lemurian quartz crystal with black.
Wow.
So it was put in a cage that I put in my car, and I hung from my windshield, my rearview mirror. And I don't even know when it happened, but I can tell you that crystal cracked in half. That crystal protected me from an event, from a car event that would have been otherwise. And I do believe, while it sounds so crazy, that crystal is still hanging in my car today, which from, I don't know, 20 years ago, cracked in half. And I look at it, and it's so beautiful to me that it's cracked in half, and it protected me. And I've had other people share their experiences with me about crystals that protected them in moments that you may not even be aware of. But, and I had this beautiful, and I'll show it to you, Teresa, I think I showed it to you when you came over. I have this beautiful heart this big of a fluorite, green fluorite heart. And it jumped out of my hands, and it cracked.
A
little crack on a piece of it.
You must have intense energy if it cracked.
I do. Well, hello.
She does.
I know we've only known each other a short amount of time, but yes.
Yeah. You must have an absolutely amazing energy.
Christine keeps up with me, and the fact that we're both on Long Island, I'm surprised Long Island hasn't vibrated into its own sound.
I'm surprised Long Island's still here.
So I said to my crystal teachers, I said, so hold on a minute. So I said, I have this beautiful fluorite, and she cracked, and she said, she jumped. I said, she what? She jumped. I said, she what? She jumped. Fluorite jumps. And then I have to show you this, okay? Because, this is
by the way, you need more certificates and diplomas on your wall.
Oh, you have to come over to my house. All right. So this is, I hope it doesn't bite me. So I purchased this.
Yes, go ahead.
How beautiful is this piece? Gorgeous. It almost looks like an owl, or
I'm picking up energy from this. I'm actually picking up energy.
It's so powerful, right? And I have it as a protection in my. So I picked it up to move it one day from point A to point B. Please, I love you. Don't hurt me. This thing bit me. And so I said to my teacher, I said, I was moving it and I got cut. She said, it bit you. I said, it what? It bit you.
It bit you.
So I believe that this is black. I think it's obsidian. And when you have something this dark, it will absorb dark energies. And I have people that come to me that are dealing with whatever they're dealing with, and it bit me.
That's crazy.
Did you bite it back?
No. What, are you going to bite that back? No.
Obsidian does draw in energy, and it is one of those ones that will bring out energy too.
Yeah.
So
It bit me.
I bet you. Wow.
Peter, before I tear into this with Christine, who has said so much that I would say, what is your takeaway from Christine's piece? And like, we're the three of us ladies here on Long Island are always exchanging content about crystals and our crystal experiences. What are we experiencing? Do you own any? Do you partake in the energy of crystals on a daily basis?
I don't know. Since I've moved, everything's packed. I don't have crystals. What I do want to say to you is, over the holidays, I received several stones that were made out of different crystals and rocks. And without getting into anything really intense, I brought one of those with me last night because when I arrived here, I put two in my pocket, and I was a little bad, but I went to a local casino last night. And I was holding on to them in my pocket, and I felt incredible energy, and I hit 4 times.
Stop it.
There you go.
I'm working with you.
So
Peter has a way. He
there.
goes to the casino and he always wins. That crystal, it may have helped, but
I have to come up there.
Peter had some secret sauce that he was explaining to me, but the casino and Peter are very good friends. And I will say Brittany's experience too, within, what was it, Brittany, a week or 2 weeks?
Yeah, I wanted to get into that, Rudin. Yeah, I think it was like 2 weeks. And I actually funded my biggest finance deal ever in my career. Now, I was only in finance for a year,
all right.
but it took about 2 weeks of putting these two crystals together. So the interesting thing is when I got the other crystal that was basically necklace that was basically based off the poem. That's exactly what, and my energy reading her that poem, she just put it together in that time. What was it, like 2 hours it took you?
Well, the energy surge that came through, you read the poem, and it was like being struck by lightning in the most positive, fun way. I was like, oh my God, I need to translate this. I don't even have words. I just need to make it.
I have to ask a quick question,
What?
Brittany.
Sagittarius.
All right.
Okay.
What is your date of
Where's
birth?
your Aquarius?
It's my moon.
Yeah.
And then my rising is Libra.
All right. Can you give me your date of birth?
12/21.
All right. 12/21 of
what a
what
great
year?
birthday. I
It's a
knew
good
you
one,
had
right? I love it.
energy. I knew she had Uranian energy. I felt
What
it.
year?
1990.
19. Oh, you were born the same year that my son was born. All right. All right. Hold on here. 1990. I'm just curious about something because I am picking up your energy. Wow.
What's her ascendant?
What is it?
Her ascendant appears.
Peter's like, let me tell you what's going on right now.
In Virgo. Her ascendant is in Virgo. But the amazing factor here is that you are such an old soul. You have been here for so many lifetimes. It is absolutely, you have a stellium that knocks most charts off.
Okay.
You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 planets in Capricorn. My
God.
Now you guys know my life. Really.
And now you are actually going through an energy transformation because your moon appears to be in Aquarius. And with your moon in Aquarius, you're being right now, Pluto is sitting on your moon, which means you're going into one of the most incredible transformations of energy and psychic and clairvoyant and clairaudient. Your third eye is completely opening. So you are going to transform the world with all this energy. Plus your Jupiter's at 12 degrees of Leo, 53 minutes retrograde. It's in opposition to your moon. My God, how are you sitting still?
I don't know.
You're a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
You know what? When we started this, because I'm very, like, I get very sensitive, and I work today, and I was obviously like talking to a bunch of people on the phone, and it's very hyper energy closing deals and doing all that. And I always take a shower when I get home. I always make my kids like shower after school because they're sensitive as well. I did not do that today. I was like, I have to make dinner. I have to prep this. I'm out of like all my incense and sage. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to roll with it. Like, it is what it is. If I have a little bit extra energy on me, I guess that's what it is. If I'm like in that hyper mode, because, you have to cold calling, you're on the phone with so many people. I come back and I'm like a million miles a minute. I'm like, I hope I don't do that on this podcast. Like, I hope it's not too much.
Oh, it's beautiful what you did on the podcast.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad that when I tell you to the minute, I was just making it on this, like making dinner.
You were
and
making it.
Yeah.
It
was so aligned.
Was there any issue with the father that you remember growing up?
Yeah, a lot. I didn't know if I was going to talk about that today.
No, we're not going to go. But
yeah,
you've been going through a transformation for about 3 years right now. And are you self-employed, or you're in finance? But your radical changes are right now. Come June, dear. Come June. You're either going to do something different with your home. You're going to either add on, gentrify your home, but you've got some amazing changes coming up.
I appreciate that. I feel it. That's what was so crazy about the necklaces, the timing.
But this is why the necklace is so important, because you're going to go through a balancing. And, truthfully, I have listened before to people that have come on that have spoken about Teresa and the jewelry. And I've also heard this from Christine. And it is the energy that is in each stone. My guide just said to me, it has an impact on our 11th ounce soul. So we can't see the energy that we are born with, but incontrovertible proof, it is definitely in each one of us. So these stones that you were wearing are going to bring you back to the etheric divine level that you were born with. And my God, this year.
Yes, let's go.
Let's go with it.
Do you know what?
I'm getting a message about grandmother also.
My grandma, I love her.
Go for it.
I know, like, I connect with my spirit team and my ancestors far more than I connect with people that are alive.
So is that your paternal grandmother?
Yes.
Yes.
She's my mom's. Yeah, she's my mom's mom.
Your mom's mom. Okay.
Yes. Okay. My mom's side comes in very strongly. I have like
Did your grandmother raise you or have a lot to do with raising you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Taught me how to cook. Taught me a lot.
Yeah, she's reaching out to you and just telling you how proud she is of you, by the way.
Thank you.
She's so proud of you. She had a big influence on you.
She did. She was my person. Definitely.
Yeah. And so your mom is still living, yes?
Mm-hmm.
And she struggles a little bit?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm Oh.
definitely a, you know,
So grandma is definitely there, supporting mom and supporting you, but just also nodding to you about your strength, and you're breaking the cycle.
yes, that makes me so happy. That's been my major goal in this journey.
You have a
Dark
daughter?
Knight, I have two.
Two daughters?
Uh-huh.
There's stuff coming in that I'm not going to mention on the podcast because it's
I
too
had a
private.
feeling.
Am I being inappropriate? I'm sorry.
No,
No.
I love it. And like it's been such a journey. And like you said, when you're a cycle breaker and like you know that, and when you like know it, when you're like, oh, okay, like I'm just breaking, like this isn't going to be done anymore in my family type thing. But when you feel it to your core and like you have no choice but to do it, they leave you like barely a choice.
You always have a choice, but you're doing it and you're brave. So own that.
Yeah, they're telling.
I felt like I didn't have a choice. I was like, "Are you guys sure you wanted me?"
You made the choice. Yeah.
You're gonna go through what my guide is saying right now. You're gonna be going through a major healing with the jewelry and the stones that Teresa has given you, because as I said, I don't believe in broadcasting things, but from a past life, there were issues with abuse, and which I'm not going to go into, and violations that I'm not going to go into here. But with the stones, they just said to me, you're going through a cleansing right now, and that cleansing is going to bring you to, and get this, forgiveness. You're going to be at a level where you're going to start forgiving.
And your daughters need this.
It's really hot in here right now, guys.
Your daughters are receiving this gift. You have a 16-year-old?
No. She thinks she is, so that's pretty accurate. They definitely think they are. 6 and 9.
6 and 9.
Okay, something about a 16-year-old. So I don't know if that speaks to you.
My 16-year-old. We're still healing. We're still working through those journeys.
Your 16-year-old, so that their 16 is going to be different. Okay, thank you for that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you guys.
The guides are asking me if you've had any issues, and they're saying to use the jewelry in conjunction with this. Were there any issues around the stomach, digestion, and food?
I'm so glad you brought this up. So really, I don't want to, but I don't really have issues with that. But my solar plex, the interesting thing is, my sister got a piece and it hit like her throat chakra. It was very like dainty, very cute. And I was like, I love it. And I was like, that, and it's such a nice piece. I was like, I'm gonna have Teresa make some. She's like, no, like wait till you see yours. And then it reached my solar plexus. It reached my sacral chakra when I lay down. It reached every part I needed it to. So I was like, oh, wait, no. And Ezra was like, I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but this was very intentional, right? She's like, oh, yes. Like Teresa was like, yes, it was very intentional. I was like, yeah, because I feel something here. The biggest thing was the grounding is the hardest part, because it's the safety, right? When you go through everything we discussed, like the safety aspect, these crystals gave me that. Teresa gave me that, Zenshine gave me that, but they found me. Like she was just called to it and started doing it. And I mean, like I met her at a networking event. I picked up crystals from her before, and I did feel something. I felt like them called to me, pulled to me. But these were like literally, like I didn't even know you could do this to this level. Like first of all, I wouldn't just let anyone in my field the way I'm very protective. So and the like safety and home feeling I felt. The interesting thing I wanted to mention was, like I said, the finance thing completely flipped, like biggest deal ever.
Yeah.
Within wearing the jewelry. And when I put on the two pieces together, remember, Teresa, you were there like
3 years ago. Were there changes financially for you?
They're growing. Like it's been a very like ebb and flow, but it's very connected to the safety aspect, the grounding,
the stones, the jewelry are going to purify and cleanse. The money is going to start pouring in because of the fact you were meant in this life to be quite comfortable.
Thank you. And I feel it. So when it's, when it's aligning and it's aligned and it's like, oh wait, I know that there's more.
Yes. Yeah. And that jewelry and the emanating of it, because I want to, they're throwing things at me, but they just said to me, Teresa had a connection. So did Christine with Atlantis. I also was there. And they're showing me people wearing these magnificent works of creation, diamonds and
breastplates,
obsidian and amethyst. So
we talked about this.
This is going to be a earth-changing year for you, and it's going to, with the stones, you're going to connect into the 4th, 5th, and 7th level of the unfoldment through Orion and through Pleiades. So you're going to be going on a trip, and boy, you're going to have a great time.
I'm excited. I'm ready. Take me to space. Take me anywhere. Let's go.
That's the experience, with Christine's out, she'll be back. If conveying about these crystals.
Yes.
So the big thing that I want to get across to people, which we have exhibited but not plainly said, when you're putting together a piece, to get back to your original question, what does somebody experience? Whether they're sitting with me or they're sitting with someone else or they're looking to shop for a crystal. Let me backtrack a little bit. What are the ways crystals are available to us? We can buy them online. Are they real? Are they not real? We don't know. You can get them at a store. Are they real? Are they not real? We don't know. We hope that they're real. When you go to a store, most of the time, there's these little pieces of paper there, and they say amethyst and a couple lines to describe that crystal. And most people will walk into said crystal shop, varying degree of experience with crystals, and they read this little piece of paper and they go, well, oh, amethyst, bop, bop, bop. Oh, that sounds good. I need that. So now they've made a decision on which crystal to get because of what this piece of paper said, not what they felt. And if we're not learning how to speak crystal, which is intuitively, energetically, then we're not giving ourselves the opportunity to make connections with those crystals. So I feel like we would be very remiss to say, or this podcast would be incomplete if we didn't just put out there, how do you pick the crystal that's best for you in the moment that you're there? How do you know which one is right for you? And my advice is set the intention. So I make custom crystal pieces because I'm sitting with that person, tapping into their energy field and using my ability to work with these crystals, the intuition, the psychic, the all that is, and pulling these pieces together. But what if you don't want to reach out to me? I won't take offense. You want to go to your local crystal shop that you always go to, and you want to support them. Well, how are you picking out the crystal that's right for you? Set the intention. I have a headache. I have a heartache. I have stress in my life. Whatever your reasoning is, set the intention before you go to that store. High self, show me the crystal that's for my best and highest good. Intention. I want a crystal that takes care of my headache. I want a crystal that takes care of this. Will that give you a complete picture? If you say for my best and highest good in the 5th dimension and above, that will probably give you a complete picture, because now that complete picture will be both the A, B, C, and the D, E, F slamming together, because you're asking for something that's for your highest good. So you may read rose quartz and you may say, logically, this is good for me. This is exactly what I'm going through. I need this. But if you are saying for the highest good, you may get more than you realize you need, or you may get the right things that you need. So set the intention and Be still, be quiet, meditate for a few minutes. Ask for a sign. How do you know if you're receiving a sign? There's a lot of energy in a crystal store. There's a lot of energy from the people coming in and out. How do we know what sign is the sign to pay attention to if we don't create space inside ourselves to know what our signs are when they are showing themselves? And this takes a degree of practice. Okay, so I set the intention, high self, show me in a definitive, clear way the sign that shows me that this crystal is for my best and highest good. Do for me what I don't necessarily know I need for myself, and then pick up the crystal. Don't pay attention to the little piece of paper. I know that sounds weird, but don't do it.
How long a time, Teresa, does a person who knows nothing about crystals and how they will ameliorate, change, or augment somebody's life, how long a process is it from the time you create these magnificent pieces of jewelry that a person can actually see the change?
So when I create something for someone, it is like very concentrated. It's very, very intentional.
Yes.
So it usually is felt right away. Because
that's amazing.
I don't know if I've ever had an experience where it took somebody time, but what I will say, ... is that the relationship between the piece that we wear or the piece of crystal that we hold on to is evolving. The day one that Brittany wears these necklaces is going to be different than day 5. It's going to be different than day 12. She's going to go through a transformation. And what happens sometimes, I tell people, crystals are not a one-time purchase. They're not like having potato chips. Right. You have multiple pieces, or this is where I think the jewelry comes into place for me, or have a crystal, is that we have crystals for chapters of ourselves, chapters of our lives. Crystals might, like what Brittany's wearing right now, that's working with her right now. There will be a day that comes in the future where Brittany absorbs, integrates, shifts, does everything she needs to do with those pieces, and then says, I don't feel like wearing these anymore. I feel like I've gotten everything out of them that I needed to get out of them. Or that piece will break. And she'll go, Teresa, my piece broke. Like, what do I do? Sometimes people call me and they go, my piece broke. Can you put it back together? Maybe. Because did it break and we need to add something in? Did it break and we need to take something out? Did it break and we're going to put it together in the exact same way? Did it break and we're going to put the beads in a different order? Did it break and you're ready for something new? This isn't a linear one-size-fits-all situation. The same way that, and this is my big point, Brittany, Peter, and myself, you're intuitive, you're psychic, you're kind, you're loving, you're honest, you're forthright, but we are not all the same. We may be a basket, the three of us here on this podcast and wherever Christine went, say we're a basket of rose quartz. The way that people can approach this scenario is all rose quartz is the same, right? We're kind, we're loving, we're psychic, we're intuitive, but are we all the same? No. Some days you're going to be the best provider of information. Some days it's going to be me. Some days they need a Brittany hug. So the different piece is going to give a different thing.
I'd love a Brittany hug. Anita, I'd love a Teresa.
Sending you the hug.
Hug away.
I had a question on here from E. And E says, if I may ask Brittany and then Christine, which Christine may or may not come back, I don't know what happened. If you could give one piece of advice to someone who is trying to learn how to find their center, what would it be?
Oh, I love that question. That's been a really difficult part of my journey, I feel like, to center. So I would say, like, I incorporate, for me to find my center, I'll sit there. My sister does a lot of yoga. Sometimes I just can't tap into the yoga that I want to. So I really do the breath work. That helps me. And I'll hold a crystal while I do that breath work. But a big thing I do is I kind of Reiki myself. And even if you don't know what Reiki is or don't know that the energy's moving, I mean, you're doing it. So wherever you feel like that energy, just put your hand there and just send it so much love and like so much peace and just serenity. And then it really just like brings me back. I picture roots at my feet, I would say. That really helps me. I just
really love the roots thing.
I love the roots thing. It's my favorite because my root has, it's definitely had its ebbs and flows, like my root chakra. So that helps me a lot. Grounding is probably like one of the hardest things I've had to do. So I would say, setting yourself as grounding. So just be one with, nature is amazing. Like I'm big with the beach and ocean, and I don't care if it's winter, summer, spring, whatever it is. I'm barefoot on the winter floor. And I'm just like feeling that those roots go in, and that really helps me, just brings me back. But I feel like if you can't get out to nature, or you're just like having one of those days, like just breathing. I mean, and energy is everything. That breath is, that's golden. What's the word I want to say?
Elixir,
like light right there. That's
yeah.
Look at Atlantis. I mean, that's all of your, energy just coming into the one, wherever it needs to go.
One of the things that you said, and it brought up two different things. Crystals are out of the earth. You think about the same way many cultures, or the information that we've experienced, past lives that we've had, they have Father Sky and Mother Earth. Father Sky is that description of the etheric, the energy that we may not see, but we feel and we're a part of.
Right.
Gaia is the incubator for these crystals. So she is literally the Earth Mother, who in his many years, pressure, heat, cold, environmental changes, has created these crystals out of the areas that they are around. So you think about it: leaves, dinosaurs, soil, dirt, chemical compounds, whatever that may be, all coming together, heat, pressure, making these beautiful things that have been lodged in the earth for thousands of years, until somebody comes along and unearths them. Right. And maybe you take one large crystal and you cut it in half. Yeah. Now that you've cut this in half, the vibrational energy is now transformed because you've cut it in half. Cut in a third, cut in an eighth, whatever you want to call it. Yes. There's this energy in this one, this energy in this one, however it's going to go. So one, crystals connect us to Earth. They are our relationship. So you said about going to the beach. Earth. The second thing is grounding. Grounding is so important for us to do no matter what, but grounding, like so many people want the Moldavite, they want the Librian glass. As soon as it found out that asteroids had hit Earth, and oh my God, look at all this stuff, and we want this, we want to kiss aliens on the forehead, we want to see Jesus personally. They want this high vibrational energy, but they may not be vibrationally in alignment with that energy. Mm-hmm. So then they get that they're able to get the Moldavite, the Librian glass, whatever it is, and they have anxiety and they have nightmares and they have all this mess because you weren't grounded when you took in the energy. And there's people, and I say this all the time, get a hematite. You can kiss an alien on the forehead with a hematite. It doesn't just need to be this high vibrational experience. People have perceptions about, well, this crystal is going to get me there and this one isn't. How do you know what's going to get you where if you're not tapped into it?
I have a question on this piece that you made for Brittany. Is there any, did I miss it? Is there any garnets? And then, because with all the Capricorn in her chart, and she's got a lot of Capricorn, there should be something that's grounding her. Plus, the amethyst is in conjunction with your moon. Your moon's in Aquarius, and you're wearing amethyst. So, my God, you are a healer also. The jewelry with the amethyst is going to attract the healing components that you were born with. And this is going to give you the ability, when you're around others, to tune into them psychically, clairaudiently, and help them cleanse themselves.
I love
So
that.
I did want to interject that.
I was trying to
appreciate
think
that.
if there were garnets on there, and I'd have to like
Do you know what-
remember.
Do you know what to put? Sorry, I might have to put.
That's okay. Yeah. I'd have to look to see what was on there.
Yeah,
I don't
I
think
just
that
want-
we put the garnet there.
I wanted to. I didn't want to interrupt you with your flow, but I did want to say, because with all the Capricorn, which is ruled by the garnet, she's going to need garnet in conjunction with the amethyst, and then she's got the Jupiter in Leo, so she's going to need fire there. And then they're saying with this incongruity, not lack of, but incongruity with all of this energy from the stones are going to just bring her to the heavenly level of why she was created to be in this life. And
so my question is, when you're hearing garnet for her, where are you getting that as a message? Are you pulling that from what you know about crystals?
I'm getting that from the guides. The guides just said to me, garnet, and the guides are also saying to me, because she is so intuitive, the guide said that she should be working with the stone that works with water, because she's got water in
my chart.
Yes. Yes.
I definitely can second that. I agree.
So it's just a suggestion. I don't know a lot about the stones, but the guides are suggesting that to me. And they're also saying to me, eventually you're going to be living on the water, close to the water, if you're not doing that right now.
Oh, nope, I'm not doing that right now, but I visualize it every day and I know it's coming. It's already here.
It's coming, but this is just, I'm not trying to usurp you, Teresa, but they're saying in order to assist you in the future, there should be some grounding stones here. And I already pick up her aura. And they said to me, the guides are telling me, since she started wearing the jewelry, her aura has grown. It has gotten stronger. So kudos for picking out exactly what she needed.
She really did.
And there is physical shifts that was your original question. I think it was the first one you asked. Is there a physical change, an atomic change that we go through when wearing these crystals? And the answer is yes. So a lot of times, okay, I feel I see this piece and I know that this piece is for me. And I go, okay, well, how am I going to wear this piece? Is it going to be a pendant? Is it going to be a necklace? How long is this necklace going to be? Where does this belong on my body? Okay, now it's time for me to listen. I plug into my high self. I plug in to the source that's guiding me and say, okay, well, I'm feeling the energy of the crystals, conversation with crystals. I'm tuning into myself and I'm tuning into my guides. Now this comes together and I say, okay, I'm here to listen. Show me which ones. Or maybe a bead starts speaking to me. Eventually, this crystal is this long with each crystal in a purposeful position. This one belongs by the throat. This one belongs by the heart. This one belongs by the solar. There's purpose to all of this. What direction is the bead facing in? And this is stuff that I said in the beginning. And the reason why is because by the time this whole piece is done, the energy is vibrating. It can't not go anywhere. Each crystal is vibrating. Each bead is vibrating. So when you put them all together and the vibration is in tune, I hear it like musical frequency. And that's how I know that it's right. Is like if I put a crystal next to a person, and vibrationally it doesn't match, it sounds like off-key music or like plastic, like nails on a chalkboard. It's the worst sound for me. So when a person picks up a crystal that's not in alignment with them, I'm like, you stop. please put this here. So you put a crystal next to a person that is right for them, because each relationship is having something different with that person. So if you take this crystal that now is in alignment with this person, it makes a harmonious sound. Well, what happens when you have a crystal that's in alignment with that person that is, say, two different stones, like the amethyst and the smoky quartz pendant? Now they're working together. So this one's going woo, 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 and this one's going wah, 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 woo, wah, wah. And now they come together. That's the dance. It's my vibrational frequency that they're doing together. Now you have all these beads in a similar spot too that are lining up to each other, and it's making a symphony. It's making an orchestra. So each piece is an orchestra.
Good.
Tell them about the eye on this, because that is the part I really, but I feel like you described it so well that I loved it. And just everything in my situation, which I'm sure, Peter, like you could connect to, that I've been through in life and many past lives, it makes so much sense how this, like, okay, so explain it. So I don't know if you could like really say, so if you look, you could,
the
like,
smoky quartz looks like an eye.
That looks like, yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So the smoky quartz looking like an eye, the message that came through for that particular pen, I mean, a lot of messages come through for everything, but in that particular moment, one of the messages that came through is like, you don't need to be that person who's looking over your shoulder anymore, wondering where things are coming from. You can just know that you're okay, and you'll get an energetic indicator for anything that you need to pay attention to. Mm-hmm. And where's that in the book, the Metaphysical Properties book? Where is that going, that message? Or I'm trying to think of something else that came along with it. Okay, we need this crystal and this combination. It's not in the book. And that's what I want people to get away from. Like, because I do vending, I have a website, all these different things pertaining to this crystal. People will come up to you and say, or to me and say, okay, I have a headache, I'm stressed out, what do you got for me? Because they're ingrained in this prescription minded way. And what they expect is, I have a headache, what do you have for it? Oh, thanks for stopping by. I happen to have this hematite right here. Glad you came. Here's the hematite. It'll be $10. Now watch your headache go away. That's not how it works. It could, but that's not how it works. The better thing is, let's set an intention to go, we need a crystal, if it's here on this table, that's going to transmute your head out of pain. What crystal is good for that? Maybe the crystal doesn't touch their head at all. Maybe the crystal operates in their chest or in their back. Maybe it changes something about the way that they think, or it changes something about the emotional way that they feel, or it restructures a memory inside of them that's partaking in generating this headache. When that goes away, the headache goes away. And they go, wow, this Larimar was great for the headache. But it was never about the headache at all, because the headache was a symptom. But how do we know it's Larimar instead of something else? That's what makes the setting the intention so important, or understanding that it's a cooperative experience. It's happening between you, not necessarily for you.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to have to, unfortunately, leave the podcast because I haven't eaten since early this morning, and I love.
You gotta go.
I've got to go. Yeah, my stomach is starting to hurt. So, but Brittany, you were amazing coming on.
It was so nice meeting you.
And a pleasure meeting you. And Teresa, I'm speechless because you're always wonderful, and you're always on target. And I know if the audience decides to contact you with your jewelry, I know what I've talked to enough people to know that it is unique to them. It works. It works on a heavenly basis, and I know their whole life will change.
Thank you, Peter. I appreciate that.
Okay. God bless, and much love to the two of you.
Bye, Peter.
Enjoy your meal.
Bye-bye. Thank you, dear. Bye-bye.
The last thing that I'm just going to say on this podcast, Brittany, unless there's something else to go for from here, is that when people talk to me about crystals, I say, you can't put God in a box. because to me, so much of the commercialized approach to crystals is limiting them to a rock, a thing that comes out of the ground. Mm-hmm. And when people have that kind of nonchalant or cavalier experience, it's just a rock that came out of the earth, just the earth, and it has some property. All of that is so limited in scale. You're right. Just a rock. Rocks have scattered patterns. Crystals have a repeating crystalline structure. They make the same pattern over and over again in the same shape. So if I pick up a rock at the beach, in the woods, what have you, it has a pattern that looks like it exploded. When it comes to a crystal, it has a repeating structure, whether it's a square, a triangle, an oval, whatever it is, it's always the same. Pyrites always grow in squares. Quartz crystal always grows in points. That's just how it is. Amethyst grows in sheets. So that just crystal, how is it always repeating in a pattern? If it's just a rock, how is it doing that? What is making it do that? And when you say something like just earth, you mean the rock that sustained your entire existence, that's hurling through space, that's keeping you protected in the solar system with all these different things like that you narrowly miss on a moment-to-moment basis, meteors, asteroids, comets, no big deal, just Earth. Just Earth made it through centuries and lifetimes and thousands of years, gone through so many different environmental shifts, somehow makes a balance for us to live on it, somewhere between oceans, volcanoes, active volcanoes, non-active volcanoes, trees, sustains everything. Just that Earth? Is that the same Earth that we're talking about? That grew this repeated crystalline structure inside of it that now you hold in your hand and say it's just a rock that has properties? This kind of mental limitation is going to create disconnect between the relationship that you enjoy with your crystals if you have that kind of limited perspective. And I know nobody here does. I'm just saying it out loud. Yeah. So when we have crystals, they are our bridge to the earth itself and the majestic nature of the earth itself and all the heavens, all the etheric, the high vibrational, the source, past lives, Akashic records. Who knows what's going to come up next? So to have this kind of limited perspective over them is where people kind of begin the process of undoing themselves. So as soon as you put them in your hands and understand that there's a level of respect that goes in with them, they're not people, but they are their own brand of living identity. And they're whether energy is being channeled through them, and that's what gives it, whether energy is downloaded into them and they're living notebooks, or they themselves have a vibrational pattern that corresponds with us, whatever thought ideology you want to ascribe to, the main point is that it's doing something for us. And how we work with that is going to determine what we receive from it. I tell people all the time, please put your books away. It's nice to know what the metaphysical properties are, but get a crystal. Don't look at, maybe you catch the name of it. Write the name down, put it in a drawer, put it in your wallet, write the name down, have an experience with that crystal for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Assess what your own personal experience is with that crystal. Sit with it and meditate with it in the morning, meditate with it at night. Hold it in your hand or wear it. Just, you could do some of this. You want to have a one-on-one experience with that crystal. And if it's in alignment with you, you're going to feel some kind of something with that crystal. And I also want to say in this moment that there is such a thing as the wrong crystal for you. And this is one of the things that we have in an upcoming crystal class that we're putting out there, is that we did crystals with aura photography. People holding crystals, then getting their auras scanned. So we have a class that we created where it's aura photography, crystals, and Reiki. And we said, okay, these things have been esoteric for a really long time. Let's put it to the test. Can the aura photography pick up when somebody's holding a crystal? Does something about them change? When they receive biological energetic synchronization technique, does something about them change? Can we see that real time in the aura photography? When we receive Reiki, can we see something there real time? So can we, it wasn't me who held the crystal. Everyone's going to know that I know, and it's going to happen. But so we had to have other people hold those crystals in order to run these experiments on them. So the first one was a friend of mine. He picks up the crystal and he says, because of showing up to my classes and now being in tune with the crystals, the energy from crystals, he said, I don't actually like this one. I don't feel good about it. And I don't like how it's energetically making me feel. The vibration feels off. So he, we do a scan before this moment. I'm sorry, I missed that part. This is his control scan. When he gets the crystal and he says he doesn't like it, I said, well, you can choose another one, but you're really just going to put your hand on the aura photography for a minute. And it's a kind of, we're not looking to see, does the crystal, what is this crystal doing for you? We just want to know, is it doing something that we can chart? And the answer is yes. And not only was it yes, we saw his life force energy on the control scan that we did be very, very high. And then when he held the crystal, we saw all of it go away by half. So sometimes the only one that was all the way up became his psychic, energetic, vibrational. All the rest of his chakras from third eye down halved to what they were. So sometimes we can get a crystal and it enhances our psychic, our crown, but what is it doing to the rest of our energy? There's an adverse energy. And that's the same thing I'm telling you with the crystal that you're not in vibrational alignment with. It could actually take away your energy. It could become a vibrational pattern that doesn't work for you. So it makes you feel tired. And this is part of what's important to understand when you're working with crystals, or if the crystal is right for you, but it may be a little awkward at first, or it's awkward, you don't want to hold it on. These are these subtle nuances that as you continue to work with crystals and explore them, exploring yourself, that you will come to find out along the way. But all these things are relevant.
I love that. I love that you put that into perspective for people, because I feel like that's really important. I didn't really, on my journey with crystals, like I wouldn't say I really thought about that up until meeting you and realizing that, oh, that's why I had that reaction with that crystal. So I would get really bad headaches if so I always get kind of energetic headache. I mean, I get migraines, but energetic headaches, right? And they get bad. They'll last a day or two or hours, whatever it is. But if I would go to certain places or go to a certain crystal shop or whatever and grab something and now I'm big with having them under my pillow. I never really looked into the properties of it. I would just sleep with it under my pillow. That's how I would connect with it and then meditate with it. When I would carry it around, I would get really bad migraines. And I'm like, shouldn't this be maybe helping a migraine? Shouldn't this be grounding me, doing this, doing that? And it didn't matter what crystal it was. But now when I go back and we're talking about in the beginning of my journey, so 2000 and maybe 2018, I think 2017, around then is when I started really being into crystals, I would say, and having that awakening.
Mm-hmm.
I would get those. So that makes a lot of sense. So that was my adverse reaction. And it's really cool to put that into, perspective, realizing that, that wasn't, then I'd have a lot of crystals or jewelry that would always break. And it did it. And it really matters, who's making it, what the intention is, where that crystal's from. Is that crystal being nurtured, as you're doing this, it really makes a difference. So not only the type of crystals, but I've had, and I've had beautiful pieces made, and I've had the connection to it, and how do I explain it? But there was not it's out of words. What I mean, when we were, when I picked up the necklace and we put them on together, I put them on together, and you're like, no. And I was so exhausted. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I don't know if I'm going to put them on together yet. And then you were like, no, put them on right now. Let me, and what you saw, what we felt, that shift, that was a shift right away.
Right away.
That shift was there right away. Obviously I can't say that that's going to happen for everyone, but that in itself, like those crystals that you picked, like customizing to my energy and what I needed at this time, like they melt, like welded into me. Like that was just like, we're whole now. Like we're one.
That's right. There's so I actually am really glad that you brought that up, because sometimes people get crystals and they expect to feel something and they go, I'm not feeling something. I'm not feeling something. Where's the something? I'm not feeling something. They may not feel it until after they take it off and they go, oh, wait a minute. I felt better when I was wearing it as opposed to taking it off, and they put it back on. There's cellular work, metaphysical work that's happening when it's creating a vibrational shift. It may be low and slow, or it could be high and fast. It could be anywhere in between. And it's not one size fits all. And that's one of the important things about working with crystals, is that free yourself and them from expectation.
100%. I love that.
There, like I said before, there's these two pieces there. So last year I was making a necklace for someone who, hey, can I have this necklace? And I put their necklace together and I'm like, wow, I really like this energy. I feel like I want my own as well. My chest started to get really heavy. My ears started to make this high-pitched sound, and I felt this intense pressure. And I was holding these new kyanites that I had gotten. And I'm like, wow, and the other person I was making it for also works psychically. And they go, are you having pressure in your chest right now? Because they didn't receive any crystals from me, but they started feeling what I was feeling, because we were on the phone talking about what I was creating for them. They go, is your chest really heavy right now? Are your ears feeling hot? It feels almost like your ears are growing. Like, I don't know how to explain it, because I'm looking, I'm on the phone with you, and I know it's not your ears physically growing, but I feel like your ears are just getting larger as you're working with these crystals. I was like, that's what I feel like to a T. So we started bonding over it, and I started feeling out this energy. It was very heavy. It was like it was like heavy energy was shifting and very high vibrational energy was coming in same time. And that's where this feeling of pressure and weight were coming from. So I make her piece, I make my piece. It actually is this piece. And I send hers out and I put mine on. And my ears were hurting me for, the day after. I go, this is so weird. I know that I have made the right type of piece. I know that it was made for me. I know that I didn't put a wrong bead, a wrong spot. I know it's all right, but I don't understand why it's hurting me. I've never had that experience. And I'm asking my guides, you don't want to wear things that hurt you. So I'm like, well, I've never made something that caused some kind of an issue like this before, but the energy is way different now, more than ever. So I'm like, I feel like I'm supposed to wear it, but I also don't understand what it's doing to my body. But I feel good in a weird way, and I'm having trouble understanding the whole of this experience. So I take it off. And I wait a couple days, I go back to kind of normal, but now I'm starting to really go through big waves of shifts. And I put it back on, I take it off, I put it on, and I'm wearing a different one that I made for myself at this time, similar to you, where I had two different ones that I bounced between, or I would always wear the one main one and do this one. What was actually happening was that my vibration was changing for me as a person, and I was getting higher. And the stuff that I had in me or on me had to go in order for me to take in that higher vibrational period. And this hurting feeling was actually me acclimating to the higher vibrational energy.
Wow.
And that's what her, she received her piece and she described similar feelings. And she said, I feel like I'm getting this download of information, but almost like I can't quite hear the message yet. And my chest feels heavy and my ears feel, and we went through this whole thing. Fast forward from August to January. By January, this was the only piece I was wearing, and I could wear it every day and I felt no pain whatsoever. And it was almost like the experience that I had with it came to a total shift, and I was in a whole brand new space of energy and was like, wow, I feel like a totally different person. And I energetically, I was.
Yeah.
So because I was able to get there. So my takeaway is that sometimes you wear jewelry, the energy doesn't feel good, or it hurts, or you have a headache. You want to take it off. You know, that's on one part. If it doesn't make you feel good, sometimes it's not going to be the right fit. You're going to have to use your inner guiding system to say, if this crystal makes me feel this way, what is happening? So like, I could not wear prehnite for the longest time. It's the stone that heals the healers. It's a very high vibrational healing stone. Loved the way that it felt, loved the way that it looked, couldn't put it on my body. One random night, I had a dream that I was having this conversation with my sister and I, and said, you needed to work this out in the spiritual, in the energetic, and now you're clear. You can wear the prehnite because you worked this out. I wake up in the morning, I'm like, what the hell was that dream? But I'm like, now I need to test it. So I take this, I had some prehnite beads, I grab a couple and I make a bracelet out of it and I slide it on. Sure as anything, the block that I had towards it was completely removed, and I've been able to wear prehnite ever since.
Wow.
They are different relational experiences between us and them.
That makes so much sense.
So you want to know, you want to really get good with checking in with your high self. Is this hurting and I should take it off? Is this not working? What's the block that's living in me that this is lifting? Because maybe it's lifting something and that doesn't feel good. Or this actually doesn't resonate with me and I shouldn't be wearing it.
Yeah.
And you're not going to know which one is which unless you check in with your high self. Maybe you need to take it off for a little while, come back to it. Maybe you need to not wear it at all until whatever later time. Maybe you'll never be able to wear it. Maybe there's weird energy on it from someone else who picked it up before you. Always clear your stuff before you put it on your body. And the best way to clear your crystals is not sage, definitely not salt, sun and moonlight, awesome, but intention. It is, to me, one of the biggest farces of working with crystals is that you need a bundle of sage to go with your whatever it is. Here's my plate. Here's my selenite. I charge my crystals on my other crystals. I burn this, that, the other to clear it. Your intention, you realizing how powerful you are. You are literally source incarnate. If you have an intention that you set, if you get into a place of pure high vibrational energy, love and unity and grace and gratitude with you and your creator, and then you set an intention for these crystals to be cleared, the same way we do Reiki, the same way that we do energy work, that intention is more powerful than any other modality.
I agree. That is so powerful. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I mean, you said everything. Like, that's exactly, I mean, you'll lose the crystal will break, there's so many different things that will happen, and you'll get upset. Like, I've even had my kids like love crystals. They get upset, like, we lost the crystal, but someone else was supposed to find it. And I'm like, how did you lose that crystal? Like, we just got it. And then they like remind me, they're like, no, someone else was supposed to find it. Someone else is going to get it.
It jumps out of your pocket. Like, I swear to God, they teleport. Like, I'd had them and I'm like, I know that this was here. I know for certain. And then like, I find it like a week later in a room that I was not even in. And I'm like, okay.
The craziest is when they break, because you think about it. I mean, black tourmaline, that happened to me so many times in like lower vibrational areas. And I started to just watch it, just like shed, like piece by piece breaking. And I was like, is this supposed to be happening? Like, that was in the beginning of my journey with crystals. And I was like, and that was when I started to see, oh no, like it's doing its job. Like, it's protecting, it's doing everything it's supposed to do. Like, then it's like down to like, black tourmaline, it's down to like that little shrivel of a piece. So, I mean, the whole takeaway in all this is just like, I've never seen someone do what you do to this level. You know what I'm saying? Like, to be able to sit there and like click into that, and it's like it's Reiki, it's you're customizing the crystals to the energy. I mean, there's so many different components here. So if anyone is interested to experience this, I mean, like, we can't speak for what anyone's shift is going to be. I could just tell my story, right? And I can share my experience with it. But I'm so grateful for you, Teresa, to have me on this, to have met you in this lifetime and every other, and just to really learn. I learned a lot in this as well. Like, learned a lot about myself. I mean, yeah, like, to be honest, like, the logical brain it can't wrap around what the crystals are actually doing. And a lot of people just want to go straight logic, but like, there's no logic behind this. It's like, there is a science, but I would say, like, the full logic, like, no.
I don't even want to say that there is not a logic to it. I think that there's an untapped world.
There you go.
If we were living in harmony with our planet and our creator, this would seem like effortless common knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
But the more disconnected we are from our planet, the more disconnected we are from our creator, when we're living in the ego and we really believe that the physical world we live in is all there is, where is the place we go to that is not connected to the planet and not connected to the creator? That only leaves the matrix. And the matrix is not made out of love, and it doesn't want your best and highest good. And a lot of the matrix wants to hone you into being an ego, being in fight or flight, being energetically available for a midnight snack. The matrix is not your friend. And what do? We tend to look to the future and base it off of past experiences and narrate what the future will be. Well, if we live in the past or we live in the ego, we're not going to be able to have a new experience. There's this great book that I'm in the middle of right now from Joe Dispenza, Creating the New You. And he talks about how our subconscious, so as a child, we have an experience. Let's call it stress, or let's call it guilt. It's the first time we come in contact with that emotion and it doesn't feel good. The second time we come in contact with that emotion, it doesn't feel good. Eventually, whatever emotion we continuously come in contact with one day after the other just becomes part of our subconscious body, our subconscious mind. 95% of our day-to-day thoughts are from the subconscious. Only 5% is conscious. So out of that subconscious, it's a thought. Your day begins with a thought. And this means that fast forward all the way back as a newborn, you in utero, all the way to now, here's your thought. Your thought creates a chemical reaction in the body, which generates a feeling. The feeling that you feel based off this thought sends an alert. We heard you, brain. Here's what you need in order to feel this. And the chemicals go back up to the brain. The brain thinks another thought, a larger thought. And then it surges back down and it feels, and our body and our bodies and our mind are having a conversation. Chemically, emphasis, chemically. Meaning that if we are in a circumstance in our life, say it's trauma, stress, guilt, financial strain in the household, lack of love, cold parenting, security, kindness, warmth, whatever our day-to-day experience was as a newborn, as a toddler, as a child, as an adult, as a teenager, as an adult, it's hardened now. However many years we've experienced, we've created chemical compositions in our body that work like a line that you build a car or a plane on. This is your work line. And your body now expects to have these 10 pieces that create that car. So it's an assembly line. When you consciously say, I'm going to be happy, I'm going to live a different life, whatever the case is going to be, you're taking that piece away from that assembly line. the body goes, hey, wait a minute. We've been doing this assembly line for 20 years. We're very good at this. What are you trying to do right now, brain? And the brain goes, I decided that we should build these cars differently. Nah. We need to send up some chemicals that make the brain think it's the brain who's creating these ideas, but it's really going to be us. Those chemicals work with your brain to take your brain away from the healthier choice. Then your brain starts to get it. And so it's this whole thing. So it's not, okay, think positive thoughts and feel better. So now take crystals into this fold. You have this practiced vibration that you've been in. You're consciously trying to make new choices for your life, where you're saying, I really want to feel better. I'm ready to do something. Because that's anytime we reach out for something, we want to be out of pain or we want to be in pleasure. Yeah. So now that we're adding this new vibration into us, one of the best things that crystals does for us is take our vibration that we have practiced and created and say, I'm ready for something new and I'm looking for a little outside intervention. When we put these crystals on our body or we hold them, I prefer the jewelry part rather than pieces to hold. Their vibration is working with ours and it's morphing the vibration that we are vibrating. If we take it off, we may not be stable in the same way that adding them into our vibration feels. And this is what we had at the crystal class last November, is we did muscle testing with the person who we did best, and we did crystals. When the person started to receive best, we just had them hold, we did like a control best. We did the best work. We saw the effect on the body. When we added in the crystals and we had that person hold the best, the body was able to fight off. And the person literally was using so much body force to try to keep their arm up that their whole body almost lifted off the table. Mm-hmm. So, add in the crystal and there didn't need to be any work. The crystal actually changed their vibration, changed their strength level, had an immediate energetic change that was noticeable in the body. So this is when we are working on healing or using crystals for healing, they're creating cellular and vibrational changes in our body so that we can, as we're wearing this piece, what's really happening for Brittany or myself or Christine or anybody else is we are downloading a new vibrational way of being. And when we are no longer resonating with this crystal piece, we move out of vibration. It's because we have grown or we have stabilized the vibration that these crystals are helping us to resonate with. Now that and all the external cause and effects, it's internal stuff, internal changes, external changes. We have a whole meeting or intertwining with these internal, external things to get to a place where we have created that change. Once that crystals helped you do everything that it came in to do with you, it will break, or it will be like, oh, I'm not really feeling this anymore. It's time to create something new. Mm-hmm. And that's why it changes one moment to the next moment. So you're never done with crystals if you choose to use them to work with. But you don't need to buy 16 at once and then say, okay, well, now what do I do with them? And you don't know what to do and they become counter ornaments. When you work with crystals, you want to be intentional and purposeful.
I agree. And I think that was a beautiful way of explaining, when I say logical, I meant the logical, someone who thinks with the logical brain, it's very hard for them. And this is why I love that you're doing this, speaking for this, because I was a super just logical thinker, didn't even know about this other side of me, so I feel like crystals really open that up for you. It doesn't, the logical brain, you just explained it. But when someone comes and they don't know this world, and they come into it, they're like, oh, how many times have you heard people downplay what a crystal can actually do? So I love how passionate you are about this. It's your gift, it's your purpose, and it's beautiful what you share with the world, what you shared with me, which you helped me share with my daughters. It's very important. And it's, the energy of our world and everything that's been going on, we need all the help we can get to raise the vibration. And that's exactly.
And we are doing a very good job of it. We are doing very good. And there's more energy coming in. So the shifts will continue to come in. So, you know, with that point, thank you so much for being on the show with us. Thank you for sharing your story, your vulnerability, your birthday. You are loved and we appreciate you. And thank you everyone who hung out with us and watched tonight. And we will see you on the next episode of Cosmic Tea Hour 999.
Bye.
Bye.